electronic dance music TJ. So shout out to David Solomon. I wanted to get on here and do a Q&A. And here's the caveat. I was looking at the questions many of you submitted through my phone, and then I lost the phone. So I'm going to have to ad lib until I can find the phone, kind of looking around. So if I don't get to you first time, and if you're in the C section, if you're actually live with me, then feel free to join. And if any of you, by any chance, as the ADHD poster child, see my phone, let me know. But okay, some questions that I got repetitively were, how did I get into finance? I remember when I was a child, I had a father who I have an estranged relationship with, nonetheless, teaching me, going to this. And I understood what he meant by that. So my first exposures to stocks was probably about maybe 5, 6, 7, however old I was. And I remember that moment as my aha moment. And I continued and continued. And here I am. Lots of nuanced details in the way. Book deal coming soon. So you can read all about the life and the trauma that affected my ability to trade. Number 2, who do I look up to? Which was super shocking, but okay, let's go. I'll name 10 of them. Alan Greenspan, the monetarist, former Federal Reserve Chair. I look up to him because not only is he Jewish, brilliant, and for deregulation, I am someone that would like to think I'm very diplomatic. I like working with any and everyone. I enjoy ideas that are not perhaps linear to myself. And I believe in doing what's best for people, not in any way, shape, or form, not excusing imperfection. I think we, as a society, however, want to point out someone's flaws. However, nonetheless, he is the daddy, the mecca of all daddies. Alan Greenspan, number 1. David Solomon, number 2, or I would not be here. Shout out to David Diesel. And as I heard, I'm better. I'm just kidding. I'm sure you're much better in equity. So I'll just teach you some details. I've been enamored with SAC Capital, Herbalife. Yes, I know this is probably very weird as someone that is not that old to have known about these things, but when Bill Ackman and Steve Cohen were in business together, and Steve Cohen with 0.72 fund, 0.72 is doing, along with just his ability to know how to trade leverage so fucking well. The guy is just brilliant minded. I love that he plays cards, or did. Love that he was using his college checks to invest. I love, love, love that he loves art. His wife is named Alex, and it's probably very creepy that I know that. But moreover, one thing I find very interesting about him, and I find it to be such an admirable trait, is when I watch his interviews and he speaks about his son who served in the military. As someone who, one of my largest philanthropy causes is PTSD and veterans with PTSD. The fact I was like, nope, and go work in DC for a year. And the son did work in DC for a year, came back, and that seemed to be a very prolific moment. And instead of him admonishing, he embraced it and has done a lot for veterans. To the best of my knowledge, there are clinics up and running for veterans to receive health care. Blackman, number 4, active investor. I have such an appreciation for anybody that can take a Chipotle and make it great again, or any type of restaurant investing. Active investing is something I find you have to be very special to do. And Bill Ackman seems to be very honest, and it will keep going. As a contrarian investor, though, I really look to Howard Marks. I look at him as a daddy of all daddies. He, quote unquote, buy when everyone is depressed. And that to me is just dead true. And what do I think about what? I don't know. I was like, sorry, I don't know what to think about something. Feel free to drop it in the C section and ask. Howard Marks, Oak Tree Capital in California. And just to recently, as a contrarian, he was able to buy two of Evergrande, which is the Chinese second largest developer, property developer that's defaulted. And he was able to get two sweet ass properties for a sick deal with them. So, number six, David Rubinstein. He founded the Carlyle Group. He was a former lobbyist and he's also on Bloomberg channel. Following to number seven, Michael Bloomberg, who I find to be extraordinarily brilliant. Anyone who is an engineer, if you're an engineer, drop your info. Potentially need to work with you, especially if it's like software API, GPU type engineering. However, someone who can be a Democrat, Republican, and an independent and run New York City. Props to you. And of course, the Bloomberg terminal, who can forget about that. So we're at seven. Let's say men I look up to that. That's a solid seven. I guess I could probably stop there. Except I'm probably going to wake up in the middle of the night and wish that I had said someone else. Okay, I'll go to Hank Paulson as number eight. I do believe that Hank Paulson did the best he could. I respect Hank Paulson for not wanting to take the job as the treasurer, being that there was a kind of a conflict of interest with his wife being friends with Hillary Clinton. I always respect people that seem to want to keep a happy household before they go into politics, because I doesn't seem like it's usually the case. I would argue the number nine, Michael Burry, who was this former neurologist. I find neuroscience to be a hobby of mine because people ask me, what are my hobbies? That's going to go in my next question. And Michael Burry is someone who read the mortgage backed securities and the lenders and was able to call the market crash in 2008 related to housing. So, who am I going to top it off with at number nine, number 10? Because I just gave a list. I'll go to Stanley Druckenmiller. Stanley Druckenmiller is George Soros' founding partner with the Quantum Fund. And I will have to say this, I know, trigger warning, many people might be, whether you agree with what he's done or disagree with what he's done. Extraordinary mind to have a conversation with nonetheless. And then we have Lloyd Blankenfield. So I just have a lot of entity. And moreover, thanks to buying Bitcoin in 2016, about 410 a coin, I was able to develop community. So I have been very fortunate, blessed, and this is not of something of my own doing. Personally religious, socially pluralist, Jesus by faith, Jewish by race. And that's that. So I am with even people asking me questions if it were not for a God that has given me a purpose much greater than I ever would have seen. I'm someone, I talk about mental health because it matters. With ADHD, PTSD, I have struggled with suicidal ideation. I might look like I'm happy right now, but there are a lot of just demons that come with a complex mind, and there's nothing fucking wrong with it. Just because you have a bad thought doesn't make you a bad person. Just because you have a dark thought doesn't make you a dark person. It's life. And you learn to cope. And thanks to cognitive behavioral therapy, I did myself because, of course, I'm not going to tell a therapist everything about my life. First off, they wouldn't believe me. And I am my own best critic. Is self-deprecation. I allow myself to talk to me worse probably than anybody's ever spoken to me. I am a vivacious reader. Absolutely. Anthony Sampson. Start with the Seven Sisters and go from there. The President, American Thinkers and How They Shaped America. but he didn't write that. But just books off the top of my head. Read books. Read history books, documentaries from 1929, 2008, anything I can get my hands on that is going to educate me to be able to discuss things from a perspective, and also again develop my own sense of what I believe would be best. I think right now we see a lot of demagogues, ideologues in relation to the financial industry. They're in $2,000 suits telling you how great the economy is when you're like, doesn't really feel that way. And by feel, I mean my bank account's not exactly reflecting what the fuck you're saying on whatever business channel. So read books, and I'm not giving financial advice. Just want to do the first part of Q&A because I lost my phone to be able to complete it.